And just to say, I welcome the opportunity to discuss the state pension age this evening, and I am proposing a counter motion because the simple fact is Sinn Féin have put down a motion tonight calling for legislation to stop the increase in the state pension age to 67 when government has already approved and published legislation to do that. It was done last week. As part of the Social Welfare Bill, which will come before the Houses next week, the pension age will be kept at 66, and the planned increases in the age to 67 in January 2021 and to 68 in January 2028 will both be repealed. This will allow the Commission on Pensions, which was recently established by Government, to do their work and produce their recommendations independently. From an adequacy point of view, the Irish state pension is excellent at protecting pensioners from poverty. Pension rates in Ireland compares very favourably with other jurisdictions. For example, the contributory state pension here is over €248. In Northern Ireland, it is considerably less at £175 or about €195. In any discussion on pensions, we do need to look at one simple, inescapable fact: people are living longer. In 1971, the average life expectancy was 71. By 2016, that had risen to 81. A person who reached 65 years of age in 71 could expect to live to age 77, but in 2016, thankfully, that has increased to about 84. Of course, it is hugely welcome that people are living longer and healthier lives, but it does present its own challenges. In 1997, spending on pensions was €1.7 billion. By 2010, this had increased to €5.8 billion, and by 2019, the cost had increased to over €8.2 billion. This expenditure increase is due in no small part to the ongoing increase in pensioner numbers. There are about 743,000 persons over 66 expected to benefit from state pension payments next year. This is an increase of over 150,000 people in 10 years. As a result, spending on pensions accounts for about 26% of all income tax and PRSI receipts. About 40% of the total social welfare budget is spent on pensions. That's up 28% in 2010. Whether we like it or not, this has obvious implications for the ability of the state not only to fund pensions but also to allocate resources to other priorities. It also has implications for intergenerational equity and fairness. The Social Insurance Fund operates on a pay-as-you-go basis, with today's pensions being funded not by past contributions but by current contributions of today's workers. What this means, and what is often overlooked, is that the group in society that would be most impacted by the decisions that need to be taken with regard to the future structure of the state pension are not, in fact, current pensioners or those who are now approaching pension age, but, in fact, the younger workers and students of today. For the sake of future pensioners and workers, we must strive to ensure the long-term sustainability of the pension system so that today's workers will be able to avail of an adequate pension when their time comes to retire. And I would just like to say that I too have been a PAYE worker all my life before I entered politics here in Dáil Éireann. And can I just say that as a working woman and as a member of a trade union, I too understand the difficulties that workers face. No one party has a monopoly on the understanding of workers and the issues that they face today. The Commission on Pensions has been asked to examine a range of issues, including the state pension age, eligibility conditions and payment and contribution rates. The Commission will also consider the issue of retirement ages specified in employment contracts that are below the state pension age and how the pension system can provide adequate cover for carers. it has been tasked with producing its report by June of 2021. The membership of the Commission has been carefully chosen so that it can address these questions with an open mind and with the expertise and experience necessary to meet this deadline. Its members are drawn from trade union and employer bodies, civil society, academia and those with technical and policy expertise. The Government was also keen to ensure that the Commission has strong female representation in its membership, and I am pleased to say that the majority of members, that 6 out of 11, are women, including a female chairperson. So I am confident that the Commission is well equipped to grasp the potential impacts of any pension reform options on affected groups such as women, workers and older people. In addition, and in order to give other interested parties an opportunity to contribute to the process, I have asked the Commission to seek submissions from stakeholders and representative groups. In addition to repealing the increase in the pension age, I will also shortly be introducing regulations which will formally remove the current restrictions for people aged 65 and over to sign on, participate in activation programmes or give an undertaking that they are genuinely seeking for work. So, the idea that any 65-year-old will have to stand in a dole queue is absolute nonsense. So, I am formalising an administrative practice which has already been in place for some time. While the payment rate of €203 for 65-year-olds is less than the full contributory pension rate, it is worth bearing in mind that a 65-year-old here receiving €203 per week is still better off than any pensioner in Northern Ireland. And I would like to assure the deputies that the fundamental objective of government pension policy is to ensure that the pension remains affordable, sustainable and retain their value into the future. We want to maintain a fair balance between those who are contributing to the system and those who are drawing from it. The need to protect current as well as future pensions, while at the same time protecting the most vulnerable pensioners, will remain at the forefront of any reforms in this area. And I have to say, Cathaoirleach, that rather than allow the Commission on Pensions the time and space to do its work, Sinn Féin have sought to politicise the pensions issue. The pension age, first of all, was never 65. There is no mandatory retirement age. Retirement is a matter for individual contracts between employers and employees. And I think the motion tonight is another example of Sinn Féin saying one thing in this House while doing the exact opposite in Northern Ireland. And I'd ask the deputies who spoke so passionately earlier if they have relayed those same comments and concerns to their colleagues in Northern Ireland. Because I don't think they're listening to you in Northern Ireland, because the fact is, where Sinn Féin are in government, the state pension age has recently been increased from 65 to 66. So maybe before coming in here tonight, maybe you should be speaking to Michelle O'Neill or Conor Murphy. And while you're at it, you can ask them if they have any plans to increase the pension in the North, because the fact is that the maximum rate of pension available in Northern Ireland equates to about €195. As I've said, that compares with a contributory pension in the state here of over €268. So I'm pleased to say that the Social Welfare Bill, which we will debate next week, also provides for an increase in the living alone allowance by €5 a week at a cost of over €57 million per year, and the fuel allowance by €350 per week at a cost of €36.8 million annually. These are all measures that will improve the welfare of pensioners and in particular those who live alone. So I'm a firm believer, Cathaoirleach, that actions speak louder than words. This government is supporting our older people and our actions clearly demonstrate that. And I really would ask Sinn Féin to reflect tonight on the adequacy of the support they are providing for older people in Northern Ireland. Because I hear it regularly from people in Fermanagh, Armagh, Tyrone, and when they say to me, aren't pensioners far better off south of the border? And I have to say to them, I agree with you. I think Sinn Féin would be better served working constructively to improve the conditions of those people rather than tabling motions on issues that this government is already dealing with comprehensively.
Thank you, Minister Humphreys.